right, so Father, why did you decide to invite Reverend Wright to come to the church?
Number one, because he likes Dr. Maya Angelou, and she was going to be here, and he wanted to come by and hear her, him and his wife. He's a friend. He's been here many times before. And I also wanted him to know he's gone through a very rough and very disrespectful last 3 weeks. And I wanted him to know how much people love him, respect him, beyond in his own congregation, in our congregation, all across this country. And so I wanted him to come here and be able to hear her, have a night out to enjoy with him and his wife, and also let him feel the love of people in St. Sabina and in the community for him.
Okay. A lot of people think what Reverend Wright said is anti-American, it's bigoted, it's hateful. Why would that kind of a message be appropriate for your congregation?
That message wouldn't be, but he's not bigoted, he's not anti-American, he's not hateful. Jeremiah Wright is one of the most loving, loyal people I know. He's a true patriot because he loves the country enough to criticize it and challenge it. It is interesting to me that he can criticize it and he can make challenges, and all of a sudden it's hateful and anti-Semitic. When John Hagee or when Rod Parsley or when Franklin Graham or all sorts of other folks make comments about the country or say things, it's not hateful. They're making comments as preachers of what they want to say. Jeremiah Wright loves America. He's a Marine. So, you know, first of all, was Bill Riley a Marine? Let's be real honest. He served for this country. He loves this country. And people to come in and take a soundbite and loop it over. If you took a soundbite of Jesus saying you got to hate your brother and your mother and your sister and your brother and your father in order to love me, and loop that around, they'd say Jesus was a madman. You did a visual of Jesus turning tables over in the temple, and that's all you showed, you say he was crazy. You can define people how you want by sound bites. The people in Trinity know Jeremiah Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday. They know the man.
Right.
So it may be something he says one time or a way he says it, and any preacher in this country, they say, oh, God, that was really harsh. But they know the person. You walk by a house and hear a man screaming and say, wow, he's an abusive father. Well, guess what? You don't have father? Or are you saying that because you heard something when you walk by a house? A church and a sanctuary is a family gathering. And you come in and take snippets of a family gathering, put it in a national audience. If Jeremiah Wright or myself or anybody else were talking to a national audience, you would probably speak differently than you teach to your family.
Fair enough, but Senator Obama even has distanced himself and said that Reverend Wright was wrong.
Okay.
It's not as if he's been taken out of context or anything like that.
He has been taken out of context. That's a lie.
Okay, fair enough. Then let me ask some very direct questions.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know Reverend Wright very well?
Yes.
Do you think he believes that the U.S. government injected AIDS into the African American community to kill them?
I don't know if he believes that or not. If he said that, I did not hear that whole tape, so I'm not going to comment on that tape. I didn't hear the whole thing. When he talks about the problems, the realities of America, my God, look at the scriptures. Look about what the scriptures say about the wrath of God being released on a nation. Look what the scriptures say about the killing of people. I believe this is an immoral war. I don't believe God said the Pope commanded this war was an immoral war. And so my Catholic Church says this is an immoral war. So I stand against the war. That anything that's immoral goes against God.
That may be true, but 6 days after 9/11, he says America's chickens are coming home to roost, basically saying that we aren't the victims, we're the ones who are at fault. 6 days after 3,000 American citizens died.
He did not say that we are the ones at fault. He did not say that we were not victims. He said it was a tragedy and a horrible thing. But he said we have to take what I have said. I'll speak for myself. Is that America has to take responsibility for its actions around the world. And we have done some shameful things around the world. Jesse Ventura is on Larry King last night talking about the horribleness. He said a lot worse than you ever heard Jeremiah Wright say. You're not calling him anti-Semitic. You're not calling him hateful. You're not calling him un-America. So, I mean, let's put it in context. And we talk about a person in context. He says that America has some things they got to own up to. Dr. King in the 60s talked about that we risked the wrath of God in this nation because of our actions with the Vietnam War. People have been saying that for a long time in America about different countries. I love America, but I also believe that I have the right to dissent with America's policies. That's part of my American privilege. I love America. I want to be nowhere else. But I have big problems with America.
And people have the right to dissent with your dissent. I mean, I think
Absolutely.
that's a conversation. So let's talk. Let me just switch gears for a second from Reverend Wright. You've also had Louis Farrakhan here.
Absolutely.
Here's a guy. You know, you were talking about Jesus, the message of love. not a message of hate. This is a guy who calls Judaism a gutter religion, who calls Jews bloodsuckers. Why are you sticking up for this guy?
First of all, he has not called Judaism a gutter religion or bloodsuckers. That is not what he has said, because I have heard that talk. I stick up for Louis Farrakhan because he is another person that the media has chosen to define how they want to do it. And they demonize how they want to demonize somebody. Has Farrakhan said everything he said, do I agree with? No. Has Mike Pfleger said everything people agree with? No, there's nobody I know in my life I agree with everything they said. But I know the man, Louis Farrakhan. He is a great man who I have great respect for, who has done an awful lot for people in this country, black, white, and brown. He's a friend of mine.
But he's also a bigot.
No.
He's also a hater.
You say he's a bigot. He is not a bigot. He's not a hater. That's what you call him. And you can have a right to say what you want to say about him, but that doesn't make it right because you call him that. He is not a hater. He is not a bigot. He is a person who has had the freedom to speak about the injustices done in this country to African Americans and to poor people in general. The classism and the racism. What was Katrina? Classism and racism. What is it about the number one jail? What is it about the fact that we're locking up black people? More black people are in prison than any other race, but American government says 72% of the drug users in America are white males. So let's talk about the real injustice. Let's talk about the education system in this country. Let's talk about the health care of poor people. Let's talk about racism that exists all over this country in America, the number one sin of this country.
Well,